Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I have a question. Is it ever going to get warm? I am tired of this cold. Tired of the virus, but I think I'm nearly as tired of the cold. Well, let's get down to business. I believe we're at session number 10 in our study of First Peter, and we're moving over now to a new section beginning in verse 13. What I want to do today is I want to read through from verses 13 through 21, and then I'm going to make a few broad statements about this section, this clip of text, and then tomorrow we'll start digging into it a little bit deeper. So let's take a look at 1 Peter chapter 1, beginning in verse 13. Hopefully you're all reading along. Therefore, prepare your minds for action. Be self-controlled, well-balanced. Set your hope fully on the grace to be given you when Jesus Christ is revealed. As obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do. For it is written, be holy, because I am holy. Since you call on a Father, capital F, since you call on a Father who judges each man's work impartially, live your lives as strangers here in reverent fear. For you know that it was not with perishable things, such as silver or gold, that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. He was chosen before the creation of the world, but was revealed in these last times for your sake. Through him you believed in God, who raised him from the dead and glorified him, so your faith and hope are in God. All right, a couple things to start off with. First of all, let's look at that therefore. The theo in the ancient Greek, it's a connective particle. What it does is it connects what has gone before with what is about to be spoken of right now. But what went on before? What was spoken of before? Well, it was, look back to verse 3. Look back to verse 3 of chapter 1. Look at that second sentence. In his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade, kept in heaven for you. So what you now know is that everything that is about to be spoken here from verse 13 on is the result of what has been spoken of earlier in verse 3. That is the therefore, because God has birthed you into a living hope, because you have received salvation through the resurrection of Jesus Christ, because there is an inheritance kept for you in heaven, an inheritance that can never spoil or fade, because of that, prepare your minds for action. Be self-controlled. Be holy. Be holy, God says, because I am holy. So the first major theme I want you to see in this block of text is that it is the result of something. Everything that we have just read from verse 13 on, and we'll read into the rest of the letter, is the result of this great, wonderful, gracious deed of God in calling together a people, saving a people, giving that people the living hope. Because we have that living hope, we are called to be holy. Be holy because I am holy. And that brings me to the second, let's call it a theme of this block of text. And it's one we also picked up earlier, and that is that the Gentiles to whom Peter is speaking are now being identified as Israel. There are the Gentiles who have accepted Christ in faith are the new Israel of God. And you see that in all of these references to the old Israel. Be holy because I am holy is actually taken from the book of Leviticus. It's one of the things that God said to the people of Israel after he had taken them out of Egypt, after he had freed them from bondage, after they had crossed the Red Sea. Now they're sitting at the foot of the holy mountain. God is speaking to the people of Israel, to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he is saying to ancient Israel, be holy because I am holy. But now, more than 1,000 years after Moses and all those events, more than 1,000 years later, God is speaking to the Gentiles. And he's using that very clear Old Testament, Old Covenant language. And it continues. I mean, look down at verse, 18. And here are references to a sacrifice. Remember the sacrificial system that the Jews received from God. They received as part of the old covenant beneath the holy mountain. That it is then that they are commanded in very particular ways to offer sacrifices to God. For you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver or gold that you were redeemed, or with the blood of animals. Remember, in the old system, in the old covenant system, sins were forgiven. I'll use that tentatively, but forgiven because of the sacrifice of the animals. But here it is not the sacrifice of animals, even less silver and gold. You were not redeemed. The word there is to purchase a slave. You were not redeemed from such things with silver and gold handed down to you from your forefathers, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. See, here again is that Old Testament connection. You Gentiles, the Jews were redeemed by the blood of animals. But you Gentiles are redeemed not with the blood of animals, but with the blood of the Christ, the Lamb who is without blemish or defect. He was chosen before the creation of the world, but was revealed in these last days, these last times, for your sake. Peter looks at this Gentile congregation, figuratively speaking, he's writing them a letter. But he looks out at this Gentile congregation and he sees not strangers, not those beyond the bounds of God's covenant, but those who are now part of God's family. Once you were strangers, once you were aliens, once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. And as the people of God, you are called to a life different. You were called to be something you were not before. You were called out of darkness into life. You were once nothing, but now you are an amazing something. You are the children of God. Therefore, Peter says, therefore, because you are now the children of God, be holy as your Father in heaven is holy. Be holy because you were saved by the blood of the perfect sacrificial lamb. In Jesus' name, amen.